Hey, welcome back to the channel. Have I even been here this week? That was dumb. That was dumb. Every tool's a hammer, unless it's a screwdriver, then it's a chisel.
We need a torch. Hate that nut.
We're not doing that. Because it ain't built till it's overbuilt. Don't force it. Get a bigger hammer. Every day's a school day. Okay, so I worked on my wife's food truck trailer this week, I promise, okay? It just doesn't look like I did very much. Let me take you through and show you. Maybe if I start walking around pointing out things I did, I'll feel like I did some things. All right, so we'll start in the front. It's kind of close here to get video, but this is the only window I'm missing. I had to get a piece of laminated glass cut. A couple of them I replaced with normal single pane glass, not these, but a couple on the back. But this one is so big that I didn't dare to use regular single pane, hardware store glass, because heck, I'm likely to break it just putting the screws around it. It's going to tweak it, and it's a big area. So anyways, I'm waiting to get a piece of actual laminated glass cut for that. There's a local shop that does it, but they don't stock it, and they got to wait for it to come in. So anyways, that'll be a bit. But I've got all the other windows in. These windows, I probably have, between my wife and I scrubbing, and then me, some of them were fine. Like that one is original. The glazing is this. These are actually aluminum. It's kind of a disaster. Anyways, these two actually are both original. But between cleaning them, they're not really polished, but at least they're nearly cleaned up. Taking the old screens out, cleaning out all that stuff, cleaning off all the old sealant, and then the ones, of course, that needed the glass either resealed or replaced. I'll bet you between my wife and I, we've got 30 hours into just getting these windows serviceable again. And the drip rail that runs on top of them also, those are all off, cleaned, straightened, not really polished, but sort of polished up. Put this thing back on. This is the exhaust fan. I don't have this wired in. Well, it's wired in, but I don't have power to it yet. But normally when this is working, when you let this door, there's little springs that the door opens with, and there's a switch up here that when the door comes away from the switch, it'll turn the fan on automatically. And I converted this over to a 12-volt fan instead of the 110-volt fan that it was before. It's just an RV, like a bathroom exhaust fan for a camper, and it costs like $11. So I thought, well, I'm trying to get as much load shedded off the 110-volt service and moved on to the 12-volt service as I can. So this was an easy one. But yeah, we just cleaned it all up and straightened it and put it back together. This is just temporary. This is kind of just a workspace. Well, you know what? When I go inside, I'll show you all of the inside stuff. I just started working on the sink, which is, you guessed it, kind of a disaster. But we'll get there. This is at this window. See, here's the drip rails. This window, I think, has to go away because the stove is going to block it. I'm pretty sure what we're going to do here is, I brought power in, 12-volt power. I think we're going to make a new panel that's the same size as the window was, and just machine maybe the word open or maybe the name of the way. I'm not sure what yet, but something, and put some translucent plastic behind it and just throw some LED lights in there so that this will just be like a lighted sign where the window used to be. Not 100% sure yet on that. This is one of the window frames that needed to be weld repaired. They were all soldered together, and then they had bolted some like hardware store brackets on them, and that made them so they didn't close right because there was nuts on the inside. And anyways, I took all that off and had them TIG weld the corners back together and fill in the holes. You can still sort of see it. They don't polish exactly the same, but there's like 2 holes there and 2 holes up here and the corner. But I did my best to disguise them. Even took a file and a straight edge and scratched these lines into the weld so that it's not as noticeable where they were fixed. Same back here. This one, actually, I just reused the old glass. I thought it was kind of cool. It's frosted, but it was not sealed anymore. So I took it out, resealed it in. Found this weather stripping that I think it seems to be working. You kind of like ram it in there. You tuck the top edge in and you ram the bottom in. I wish I had a piece of it. I'd show you what the profile of it is. Because if you're working on one of these campers with this style window, I couldn't find a brand, model number, nothing on these windows. I have no idea what they are. I'm sure if I called like a camper place, they probably could have helped me. But I stumbled on these. It's going to have to just be the test of time to see if these work their way out over time or not. On the inside, underneath here, I put, you can get glazing tape. It's just 2-sided, super sticky tape, but it's foam. So it's like closed cell foam. So it's waterproof. So I think once that has stuck real well, even if these fell out, I think the window would stay in and stay sealed. But we're just gonna let that ride, and we're gonna see what happens with it. I'm not 100% sure that that's quite what I want. I also I only bought 1 roll of it to see if it would work, but on the underside here, the weather stripping was shot. So I bought this stuff, which is like a bulb seal weather stripping. It's really soft. It's really thin. It's like 3/8 wide. Ripped off all the old and put this on, and it's nice. It has a really nice feel when you close the window. You can feel that it's sealed all the way around. I like that. I'm gonna order more of it now that I know it works, and I'll go around and do all the windows. Got the door back on. Ain't real pretty, but I put the ring cap on top. I can't close it because I got the battery just hot wired in there for the lights. But over here, I got these windows done, rain cap on top. You'll see a lot of them have this butyl tape that's oozing out. I go around kind of slowly just by hand with a nut driver, and I snug these because you don't want to tighten them too much and make this trim go all ripply, but you do want a nice seal. So you want to see some of this butyl tape oozing out. Once I'm done and I've let it sit, because the longer it sits, the more it comes out. Once it's stopped moving essentially, and I'm happy with that all these are tight enough but not too tight, I'll just go around with a razor and I'll trim this tape and pull it away. I'll do that right before we take this outside and give it a scrubbing. But I really I use butyl tape on these drip rails too, and I really like these because if this is sealed up here, even if your windows leaked, they're not, unless it's parked on a big hill or something, they're not gonna leak. The only one that I think could leak would be this back one. If this was sealed, the rain still comes down and hits the glass, down kind of lower, and it could get in. But I really like those rain things, the rain deflectors, and they got a really cool look to them too. This outside light is new. Like I said, I don't have that all wired up. I still got to put the marker lights back on. They got like layers and layers of sealers to get removed. So inside, you can see I don't know if it shows on the video good, but I really made a mess of the floor in here. That's one of my skills, okay? I mess up floors. I took these old frames, which were just painted kind of a wood color to match the paneling, cleaned them up, scuffed them all up, and we found a spray paint that's close enough-ish to the outside, especially since, it's not like touching the outside. So from in here, it seems to look about right to me. All the windows have a nice trim ring around them, and they're all painted and back on. And so what I've been mostly doing was cabinet work, which, let's face it, it's not my thing. This top is just temporary because that's a whole other stupid thing I got myself into. I want to make a butcher block top for that. But this wall is, like I had said in an earlier video about the camper, these interior walls are structural. They may not look like much, but you got a cleat around them, and that's the way the originals are too. That's an original wall there, and this is an original wall over here. And this is all going to get painted white. But you've got a cleat, and I'll put one on the other side also, once I get the backsplash on here. And then you can screw and or staple or pin nail through, and it adds a ton of strength to the side of this camper. And then out here, this is just like this other piece I did before. This is actually dadoed in there like 3/8 of an inch and glued and stapled in so that the wall, the plywood can't do this, because, if the camper really wanted to get out of whack, all it would have to do is bow the plywood, and it could. But with this on here, it can't. It's really, really solid. I mean, you grab that thing, you wiggle the whole camper. So got that done. This is the frame underneath the display case. So in an earlier video, I talked about there'll be like a, I don't remember, 18-inch or something display case. So this plywood will be up here somewhere, and that'll be the counter. And below it will be a glass window along the bottom, and then there'll be a door on the inside, and she can display whatever, if she wants to sell t-shirts and that sort of thing, or maybe food. I haven't ruled out making that a insulated box and heating it so that you can actually hold the food in there. Although the Department of Health, there's a lot of rules you have to really pay attention to. And it's not the Department of Health's fault. You don't want to be making anybody sick or anything. So I got to think on that one some more. Either way, it's definitely going to be a display case. Another thing you can do is you can take your pastries and you can shellac the crap out of them, I guess, and then you can just leave them in there. They never go bad. It's weird, gross, but I guess that's a thing. So maybe she'll just make up a bunch and put them in there to show people, it's always good to know what your food you're buying looks like. So this is the same idea as this, only it's just a little, we didn't want a full one here because it kind of makes this counter space unusable. So it's just a short one, and it's not done yet. I do have the cap to go over here too, and I still got to put cleats at the ceiling. The floor is done, and it's fastened to this framework under this thing. So you can see there's a cleat full length on this side. It really adds a ton of strength to this thing. And then up front here, this plywood is just temporary, but this will be, I don't have a piece big enough, but this will be just sanded and finished plywood on top. Like I said, we're going to do a butcher block over here. The sink has a nice stainless on either side of it for cleaning things. This area is going to be just coffee pots and stuff for making coffee, So this we thought would probably be fine. Just I'll buy nice plywood, I'll sand it and put a coat of stain on it and a couple coats of polyurethane. That should be good there. So under here is just some cabinet, some storage space, and I think these panels are just 1/4-inch plywood. Everything you do, you're always trying to keep it as light as possible, you know, because you don't want to add weight to these things. But I think over in this corner, I'm going to tuck a couple of deep cycle batteries and the charger, because I have electricity in that junction box right there, so I can stick an outlet cover on there or put an outlet next to it and run the charger to keep the batteries charged that are running the lights, and like I said, the fan, these ceiling fans back here, once they're in, those will be 12 volt also. I think we'll put that up there. I'm trying to, you got to think about the weight. I'm trying to distribute the weight around as best I can. And also, if I'm wrong, I want to be wrong tongue heavy. Because I don't know if you've ever towed a trailer that's heavy on the rear and light on the tongue, but it is a horrifying experience. I don't recommend it. 0 out of 10. Over here, same thing, rigid panel there. You gotta remember there's gonna be a refrigerator here, so you really won't be able to get into some of this storage. So I just blocked part of that right off, because it won't be, if it's usable, it'll be usable this way, you know, coming in from the here. Like I'm picturing maybe sleeves of cups or something could be stuck in there, full sleeves until you pull them out. So there will be some shelves, I think probably wire, you know, just those white wire shelves, 1 or 2 rows of shelving underneath here. And then my wife is going to make curtains, because that's the lightest and the easiest, and she's a good seamstress, so she'll make up some curtains to cover these openings, and probably also for the windows, just for looks. She'll put curtains under here. And then over here where the sink is going to be, I think I have it figured out. You can see I don't know if they show or not, but I got marks on the floor for the freshwater tank and the gray water tank. And then underneath here will also be the 12 volt water pump. And I still need to find an RV hot water heater, and I'll have to blow a hole in this wall somewhere to put an RV hot water heater in. I think that's all going to fit. I'm pretty sure as long as the hot water heater goes way down here, should be fine. The pump could actually go over here somewhere. And I think we'll be good to have the entire water system, you know, contained all underneath here. And then the front, so there'll be the sink comes down to here. And then this last little bit will just be another, plywood countertop. If we were building all of it from scratch, I probably would have, these walls, I would have moved them in, you know, but these walls are original and they're already here and they're structural. So we're just going to make do. We'll just fill in a little bit of counter space here. So this is the one that still has a long ways to go. I'm actually out of lumber. I got to run to the lumber yard this afternoon, but I wanted to get this video done. So yeah, this one will get curtains on the front also. This one over here will be probably 1, 2, 3 openings with curtains. The first one, of course, will be just the water tank right inside. You know, it's going to be stuffed right full of water tank on this end. But the curtain will cover it, and, you know, looking at it, you won't know that it isn't just normal storage. And there will be some room for storage on top of the tanks. So that's fine. And then down on this end is going to be the just a residential oven. I'm looking for a used. It's got to be gas, and I want the ones with 2 doors in the front, 2 separate ovens, so she can do one holding temperature and one cooking temperature. And then she'll also have a cooktop if she does want to cook something or make, you know, hot water or whatever. Like I said, I think this window needs to go away. I'm not 100% sure yet. And then next to the oven here will be a very small chest freezer. I don't want to go too big because I don't want the weight and I don't want the electrical load. I want to keep it really small, and it'll fit just nice right there. And then along the back here, I was thinking of building another cabinet. There's really not a lot of room, and my wife said she thinks she'll just buy a couple of those plastic, they're like they're like a tote, but they have drawers, kind of a cheesy thing, but I can just screw them to the floor because she says she'll need some drawers to keep some things in. So I think that's it's fine. I had mentioned before a backsplash. I don't know if I'm going to get to it right away, but I was thinking, what could we do to, because this paneling had gotten wet, and it's a little wavy, and we really want to cover it up and get rid of it. So we wanted to cover it with something that was easy to clean. And I thought, I've got the roof that came off this thing. The outside of it was disgusting. It had like layers and layers of sealer, but the inside, the bottom side of it is just perfectly clean, bare aluminum. So I think I'm going to cut that, and we're going to go, I'll probably take this trim ring off this window, and I'm going to cut that stuff, and I'm going to put it right top to bottom, right along this whole wall, and then I can cut the window out, put that back in, and it'll cover up where that window used to be if we end up getting rid of it. And I think it's going to look pretty cool. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I've got it right outside here. One of the things before I go out to show you that, one of the things with all these cabinets is I don't want there to be any hiding places so that when this thing is in storage for the winter, I don't want to be worried about mice being in it. So I've really tried to put a lot of thought into making sure that everything it's easy to, like when you open these curtains, this is ugly, but there'll be shelves above it, but you can get right down in here and you can vacuum in the springtime or in the fall before you put it away. You can make sure everything's clean. You can load it up with dryer sheets or whatever your choice to keep mice away is. And then in the springtime, you can get in there, clean it all out again. If you did have any rodents, you can get rid of all that. And it should be pretty easy to stay on top of, That's the goal anyways. Let me show you that the old roof is here, and I mean, it's kind of jacked up and it has some holes in it. Of course, that's why I'm not using it as a roof anymore. It's got dents and holes, but it'll be this way. And it has these things where those boards where people walked on it or whatever and dented it, but I don't know. It's it's uniform at least, and I think it looks pretty cool. You know what? It's free. It's here. I was going to throw it away, so I'm just going to notch it to fit where I showed you in there, and I'm going to let the boss take a look-see at it. And if she likes it, I can check that off the list, and it's done. This is the drip rail for the front windows I can't put on yet until I get the one window in that I'm missing. This is the drip rail this is a whole nother project. This was the one over this door over here when it had a door, normal door. Now, of course, the door is a big window door, but I really would like to have this just to keep the rain out. So I think, I ain't doing this today, okay? But I think what I'm going to do is cut this in half, and I'll get some aluminum this thickness, and I'll do my best to form a piece of it long enough to stretch this thing way out, long enough to cover that door. And TIG weld this. He can weld. I couldn't weld that thin aluminum. It would be a big puddle. But he can weld that for me on both ends, and I'll just take this and make it into a big long one. I think that'll work, but not a top priority on the project right now. So that's where it's at, okay? And I know it ain't. When I tell you about it, okay, it took a while to tell you. It seems like maybe a fair amount of work, but it doesn't seem like I got much done. But I can't make it what it ain't by talking. But that's where this project is at. It's okay. It's coming along okay. I can't work on it. I hadn't said anything about it, but I lost my job it was right after New Year's, 2nd of January. So it's been a month and a half without any actual income, except for what my little firewood rack and a few loads of scrap that I hauled away. That's kind of what we've been trying to spend on this was just that. So far it's been mostly my labor, not a lot of money. We're getting to a point where we're going to have to spend a little money and may have to take a little pause to get caught back up. I'm incredibly blessed that a couple things. We live pretty well within our means, and that allowed. And the other thing is, I have a wonderful wife. So she, she said, don't take another job that you don't want, basically. So it allowed me to take my time and find what I really think is going to be a great job. It's a work from home job most of the time, mostly doing 3D CAD work, and I think I'm going to really like it. But at the outset, I've got to travel a bit. I gotta travel out to Western PA and spend a couple of weeks learning about the product and things like that. So I'm probably not going to get a whole lot of work done on this for the next couple of weeks. And like I said, the money is okay, but it'd be smarter to wait a bit before I got to buy a rubber roof. If you're a rubber roof manufacturer and you'd like to sponsor that video, hey, reach out to me, okay? I would really like to hear from you. I got to buy a rubber roof. That's kind of the next big thing I want to get done. I got to get a door made for this thing. Other than that, I got this, I got the roof, and I got that one window that I showed you that I'm missing. This thing would be weatherproof again. That'd be a nice box to check. So, yeah, I got a little more time this weekend, and then I got a week I won't be here, and then I got next weekend, but I'm probably going to be doing stuff that I need to do around the house that I couldn't do all week. So it may be a bit before you hear from me again. I don't know, but everything's going to be okay. Just something I got to get through. But we are really thinking, not just hoping, we're feeling pretty confident that come springtime, she's going to be ready to go here selling baked goods and coffee. She's still working on a name for sure. We need to get there's a friend of hers is working on a logo, and as soon as the name is narrowed down, which I think she was hoping to do today, land on one name, and then they can finish the logo. Then my daughter is gonna start some social media stuff going, and I will make sure to get you connected. And if you're local, we're gonna love to see you come springtime. Enjoying my wife's baked goods, which are second to none. She really is a great cook and a great wife. But that's it. I'm going to let you go. Thank you for spending your time with me. I truly do appreciate you. I will make another video as soon as I have anything to show you. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.